Hi, it's Mark from Training Spark, and in this video we're going to show you how you can update the website address of your LearnDash platform. So at the moment I'm on a site here called sandbox.training-spark.com. This is what we use for a lot of our demo videos. But what I'm going to do is migrate this to a new address, which will be lms.training-spark.com. Now in this video, we're not going to show you all of the aspects of moving files across to new web servers and database imports and exports and things like that. That is something separate and would require a longer video. This is mainly about updating the address of your platform. So you might not even be moving web servers. You might just want to change your address to something else. So this video is going to show you how you can do that and a plugin to help find and replace any instances of that address in your database. So firstly, just to point out, I've set up lms.training-spark.com and pointed it to this same server. However, at the moment, if I go to the site, all that's going to happen is that it get redirected straight back to sandbox.training-spark.com. And the reason for this is that within your WordPress database, it has a record for what it thinks the website address is. And in this instance, it's sandbox.training-spark.com. So if I access the website in any other way, using any other address, it's just going to redirect me back to sandbox.training-spark.com. So what we can do in the first instance is make it so that the platform recognizes lms.training-spark.com as its address instead. And one of the easiest ways to do this without having to edit database records or anything like that is to edit your WP config file. So this is something that is in the root of the WordPress folder, and you would upload it using something called FTP into the sort of root directory. But what this is a file that has certain configuration details for your WordPress platform. And you probably shouldn't go around playing with this sort of stuff if you don't kind of know what you're doing. But this is just as a demonstration of how this works. But one thing we can add to the config file is we can force the site to recognize its address as something else. We can put in these two lines of code here. One defines this WP_home value here, and we can put in a value, and it also has this WP_site URL value as well. What we want to do is set both of those to what we want our new address to be. So I've set this as lms.training-spark.com in this instance. And what I'm going to do now is upload that to the web server into the root of the WordPress folder. And if I was to come back to here now and refresh the page, what happens is it now recognizes itself as lms.training-spark.com. So it's not quite that simple. WordPress does a really good job of using that kind of base URL to reference all of its other things. So you notice here, in most cases, it's working quite well to keep that address at the top. And it does that even though all of the records in the database still refer to sandbox.training-spark.com. And that's what we're going to change shortly. So we're going to run through the database and find and replace any old instances of that. And I'll just show you a reason why we do that. So if I log into the site and go to a page on the site that has perhaps a hard-coded link here, so something we've put in that links to sandbox.training-spark.com here. So I've got this link here saying contact the team, and if you look in the very bottom left of the screen here, you'll see it says sandbox.training-spark.com, which means that it's referring to the old URL. And you'll probably find that if you've got a LearnDash course or lots of content on your site, you'll have lots of old links that end up referring to the old URL. And what we're going to do is find and replace those across the entire site, just so that we have our up-to-date reference in the database. So to do this, what we're going to do is head to the dashboard, and we're going to install a plugin here. So we're going to go to Add New Plugin, and we're going to search for a plugin here called Better Search Replace. And this is the one we want to download here. It's called Better Search Replace by WP Engine. We can see it's got 4.5 stars and over 1 million active installations. So it's a very popular plugin and quite reputable. And we're going to install it here. And then activate it. And once it's activated, under Tools, in the left-hand menu of the WordPress dashboard, we now have Better Search Replace. And we can leave most of the settings as they are here. But one thing it's worth pointing out is it's definitely worth backing up your database at this point. In case you do need to restore anything, this is actually going to make quite drastic changes to your database. And in the event of any issues, you want to be able to restore that back. So it's best to use a plugin, perhaps like Updraft Plus, to back up your database. We've got a video on that as well. So I'll put a video link to that on the screen now. If you do want to learn how to back up your platform using Updraft Plus. But at this point would be a good point to actually back up your database. And essentially what we're doing is finding and replacing our old address with our new one. So we know our new address is lms.training-spark.com. Our old address was sandbox.training-spark.com. And what we want to do is make sure we're doing that across all tables. So what this is a list of all of the tables on your platform. You can press Shift and click at the bottom and it'll select all of them. And what this is going to do is scan across all of these tables and replace any instances of sandbox.training-spark.com with lms.training-spark.com. There are a few additional settings. You can run it as a dry run if you're a bit nervous about what's going to change. What happens if you leave this ticked is it will run through the database and find out where it would change that, but it won't actually change it. I'm fairly confident I've got this as it should be. So I'm going to untick that for now and then just going to run the search and replace. And what's happening now is it's going through every table of the WordPress database, searching for sandbox.training-spark.com and replacing it with lms.training-spark.com. And this will take a minute or two to run. I'll pause the video if needed, if it does start to struggle. But what we'll find is that any hard-coded links that we have, like the one we showed on that page, should now be updated with the new address. I just pause that there while the search and replace completes. And we can see here it's now finished and it says during the search and replace 170 tables were searched, 436 cells were changed and 345 were updated. So you can see it's made lots of changes across the entire site. And now just to test that, if I go back to the courses, the course I was just in that had that hard-coded link, what we should find is that now goes to the right address. So you can see in the bottom left now, if you look carefully, it says lms.training-spark.com instead of sandbox.training-spark.com, which means it's now updated that with the correct link. And if I click on it, it should still work. And now we've done that, we can actually remove the changes we made in the WP config file because these are no longer needed. So now the site, because the database has been changed, knows it's got the right address now. So we can remove that those two lines entirely. And if we refresh the page now, we'll see that it stays on lms.training-spark.com, and all of the pages are updated, even though we've removed that from the code. If you do run into any issues where it is still referring to old URLs, it's probably your browser cache that's doing that. So you can hard refresh on Windows, that's Control F5, perhaps opening a new private window, but that's probably cached redirects in your browser rather than the site that's doing that. So that's the process for changing your website URL. I hope you find that useful. If you did, please give the video a like, and if you'd like to see more like this, please subscribe to the Training Spark YouTube channel.